San Diego's coast is being drenched in sewage on a regular basis. It's one of the most glaring environmental emergencies in the region. Beaches have to close a lot because of the ocean pollution, and it's all because of the Tijuana River.
It's an ongoing and complicated problem, and so far no one has put forward a solution to fix it, despite locals pleading at all levels of government for help. So, where does all the sewage come from? And who can stop it? To find the source of the problem, we have to follow the Tijuana River.
Its headwaters actually begin on the U.S. side of the border in the Laguna Mountains. Then it heads south into Mexico, snaking through the U.S. and Mexico border a few times, and ultimately emptying into the Pacific Ocean from San Diego. On its way, this river picks up enough sewage to pollute Southern California coasts on a regular basis.
To understand why the Tijuana River is so dirty, we have to take a look at the border towns that share the problem.
As San Diego started to grow into a military town during World War II, Tijuana became a tourist hub for gambling and nightlife. Tijuana's population exploded. From 1940 to 1960, its population grew 10 times larger.
The city grew too fast. Mexico couldn't build public infrastructure quick enough to keep up. People built their homes on land owned by the government, and sometimes it took decades for drinkable water and sewage lines to reach those neighborhoods.
In the 1990s, after a trade agreement between the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, foreign companies set up manufacturing plants in Mexico. But only a few of them complied with regulations to get rid of hazardous and toxic waste. A surge in city growth and waste on an industrial scale were big factors in what caused this river to swell in such an unhealthy way. But it's also a matter of the land itself and how it's shaped, in other words, the topography. The city of Tijuana sits above sea level, and homes there are packed in along coastal cliffs. So when rain or sewage flows, gravity draws it all down to the U.S. side of the valley.
For decades, this pollution problem has been plagued by politics. All kinds of government agencies on the U.S. side are responsible for some piece of land near the border where the sewage spills. They've tried to coordinate many times, but groups of bureaucrats have studied the same problem over and over again.
There is an international wastewater treatment plant from the 1990s that's responsible for cleaning some of the water from the Tijuana River, but only some, not nearly enough to solve the problem and keep the coast healthy. Recently, leaders of SoCal beach towns got angry enough over beach closures that it got on the federal government's radar again. The closures were all because of the sewage. And the fact that this is a crisis affecting two countries at the same time means that the U.S. and Mexico are ultimately responsible. The Environmental Protection Agency, under President Donald Trump, stepped up its commitment in 2020. It promised to devote hundreds of millions of dollars to the sewage problem. The agency says it wants to build something new, like another wastewater treatment plant, to finally put the issue to bed.
But there's a monster under the bed. Someone is going to have to pay to keep that facility running and in good shape, and that's something that neither government has committed to in a real way.
Right now, sewage is flowing even without rain washing it into the Pacific Ocean. In the coming decades, if the world doesn't slow down its use of fossil fuels, rains will become less predictable and more intense. The problem could get worse before it gets better.
So for now, the whole border region has a lot of catching up to do if it wants to make any progress on the sewage problem, to stop it from spilling where it shouldn't.